everyone, welcome to the next video in this World of Flowers series. Now we are using Polychromos pencils again, and I'm going to get stuck in right away. I'm thinking these two. Now we've got these little tiny circular sort of bits, and I'm going to do those with my darkest blue colour, darkest violet colour. This is the mauve, very hard to see. I am going to come in a bit closer, but I want to leave both in shot. Actually, look, I've just noticed this little bit of stem here that I missed out. I'm just going to do that with the phthalo green here. I wonder how many of you noticed that. I noticed it yesterday after I put everything away. So now the mauve. Now each of these little circle shapes, I'm just going to sharpen. I have got a very small pencil, haven't I? Each of the little circle shapes is quite small. I'm just trying to put my mauve into a pencil extender. What I'm going to do is try to make them a little darker on the edge than the centre. It's quite hard when it's such a small space. If you just want to block it in, you absolutely can and should. Remembering this is supposed to be a fun activity, not a chore. So if it's not fun for you doing it this way, then just do it your way. My plan is to do these sort of leafy bits still in a sort of violet-y type colour. I haven't quite decided which one yet, but we'll get there. I'll decide, you know, as I colour. So yeah, how do I decide? Well, I'm thinking I want it to be one of the violet-y colours, and we really only have a few options. We've got a sort of the blue violet and the Delft blue if I want to go dark, but I don't think I do, because we've got our blue houses. I'd like those to sort of stand out as being just the only blue things, if that makes any sense. So they're not going to be blue. And then we have these. So our other violet choices, we have the violet, which I used down here, so we could use that as again. And I have the purple violet, which is quite similar but a little bit pinker, redder, I would say. And then we have like the manganese violet, which is then going more towards pink. What I think I'm going to do is stick maybe with the purple violet for these, but I might want several colours because it's quite a big area. So I might start with the purple violet and see how it looks. And then we need some of these other colours for our other flowers on our page. So we'll be using them all, I suspect. Not sure about the bluey ones. I'm going to do this bit the same. It's really cute, this bit, I think. It's very difficult to make it a bit darker and lighter in the middle. Maybe with an even sharper pencil, a bit more layering and patience, but I'm just going to try my best. So I had a comment the other day from someone saying, oh, your blending and shading isn't very good. And I was like, there are much better people on YouTube, was the comment. I was like, that's very true. There are much, much better people on YouTube, but it can't all be the best. And I sort of replied saying, you know, my channel is meant for beginners. Really, if this is too simple, then, you know, go and find somebody else. You know, if you're, you can go and do a Chris Cheng or, you know, someone else that's more, offers more detail, and, you know, but for me, this over here is more about simplifying a little bit. And I personally would get really bored if I spent as long on a page as some people do that produce the most brilliant work, but they might get 2 pages done a month. And for me, I would just get bored. You know I could spend a lot longer on a page. Like here, you know, I've done these dots. I could come back, I could go around them in a darker colour, you know, use them, we are using the mauve, use more layers of mauve, use some black, do all sorts of things to make them look even more three-dimensional. It takes so long, be so complicated, and that's just not what my channel is about, really. You know, it's about giving you simple tips that can lift your work a little bit from just being, you know, not just blocking in colour. Or maybe sometimes we are, if it's really detailed, but it's about how to choose colour or just how to chill and relax while you're colouring. You know, it's not necessarily supposed to be the most, you know, expert tutorial. It's just, you know, a few hints and tips, and some of them will be very simple, some of them you would have heard a lot of times before, you know, but hopefully some people will find it useful, and I know a lot of you do. You leave me nice comments, so it was just interesting. And sometimes I wonder why people feel the need to make a comment like that. I mean, I do ask you to comment, but that's not very constructive, you know. If you want to say what you know, if you want something that's a bit different, let me know. You know, it's all very hard saying that isn't for me, but what is? If you know, do you want something a bit different? But anyway, it was interesting. You know, it's it does play on your mind a little bit, but I know that if we're in this space where we're, oh, I've got a cramp. I was gonna, if we're in this space where we're putting ourselves out there, we have to expect a variety of responses, and I am pretty thick-skinned, to be honest. I've had to endure bullying in various guises over the years from various people, and I know it's not nice and it shouldn't happen, but it's sort of made me a bit more resilient, should we say. Right, that's my mauve. We're going to work on these. I'm going to bring it down just a tad. As I say, I'm going to use the purple violet. Now what I'm going to try to do is, where should we start? Let's start here. Let's start by sharpening that horrible blunt pencil. Ugh. There we go. Ah yes, I'm actually going to start with this one because I need to remember that I thought these were matching. So you can see we've got 3 leaves here. We're going to start with this one on the left, and what I'm going to do is put down quite a thick layer here and down this side here where they overlap, and then sort of fade it off a bit here. Yes, but when we put ourselves out in this space, we have to expect a certain amount of negativity, and although it's not very nice and it shouldn't happen, it does, you know. And I know some people who have been online and they've got very upset by certain comments that they've had, and it's horrible that it's happening to them, but unfortunately it sort of comes with the territory, really. My son said he has the same on his, and if people are just obnoxiously rude, he just blocks them. You know, I don't tend to block people, but he's doing live streaming, and if they come out and they're either arguing with his regulars that are, you know, chatting. There we go. I'll make that a little bit darker at the top. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. going to carry on with this one. So just layering up more near the stem, and then just reducing that as we go towards the end. It's really simple. He has said before that he has moderators in his, because he's doing live streams, you know, and there's a lot going on. He said sometimes he sees, because he's playing a game, he's playing Minecraft, he can't always keep his eye on the chat, and sometimes he sees his moderators removing comments before he's even read them, when people have just put either probably rude, offensive, or more likely non-family friendly things. You know, he's got rules on his channel as to what you can and can't post, because most of his audience are children, so he's very aware that he needs to be very careful in what he's saying and who he's encouraging and what other people are saying too, you know. So that's interesting. But yes, I know the government have been trying to do something to help stop online trolling. It's a really difficult thing to do, isn't it? They want the sort of social media companies to take more responsibility for the content on their sites, but of course they're unwilling to do that. It's a really, really difficult thing to do. There's so much content on there. How can you do that? And it's going to cost them a lot of money, which they don't want to spend. So I don't know whether they can even bring in legislation that will force that. But what they're trying to do, particularly my MP, whether you like or dislike various parties, and you know, we're not going to get political, she's trying to get something done. She had death threats online from people who were hiding behind anonymous identities, and what she's trying to do is to force people to not be allowed to be anonymous, so to make social media companies always have a way of identifying the people who are leaving the comments, as she feels that by getting rid of that ability to be anonymous, again I'm colouring this in the wrong direction, it should be that way, then people might be less willing to do it, because she said, you know, if you're face to face with someone, you know who it is, they are less likely to be rude or troll you or, you know, whatever, than if they are anonymous. So that's what she's trying to do. Yes, she got death threats because she took maternity leave as a Member of Parliament. And I have spoken to people who thought that it was very wrong, that she shouldn't have got pregnant while she was an MP, and it was irresponsible because she's supposed to be representing us as a constituency in Parliament. But she timed both her pregnancies, so most of her maternity leave was in the summer recess. Parliament don't meet in the holidays, in like school holiday time, you know, summer, Easter, Christmas. They have breaks, and so most of her maternity leave was in the recess when they are allowed time off. And she has a team working for her, which all MPs do anyway. I thought it was rather unfair that other women were saying she shouldn't have had maternity leave, and I was like, but we're all entitled to it, you know. Why should she be any different? It's a difficult one, but I feel there is something wrong with this system in government, that they can't vote from home. You know, they could during lockdown, but they have to vote in person, and I think that's very wrong, because she could be on maternity leave, and then when there's a very important vote, she could vote from home. But they're not allowed to do that. There's even been a case where there was such an important vote that one MP was in hospital, and they took an ambulance to Parliament to make their vote and then went back to hospital again. I mean, it's ridiculous that because it's such an old-fashioned institution, it doesn't really have allowances for this sort of thing, when in all other places there are laws which have to protect our rights and allow us to be able to function and take sick leave, maternity leave, etc. But in the place that makes the rules, they don't have the rule. It's very odd, I feel. Now, these colours are quite close, aren't they? I'm not sure whether I feel that I want to darken up these to make them stand out a little bit more. You could put black on them, or just layer over in another layer of mauve, something like that. But I'm going to hold out on that decision and look at how the rest fits together, because we've got a lot more to do. Well, I say a lot more, I don't think it's going to take that long, to be honest. A couple of videos, we've got a background to do, but I haven't properly planned it. But I know how I want it to give us, I want it to look magical, but I don't really know how to achieve that. We've got dots and stars and things drawn on here. I want to sort of do something with that, but we'll see. I'm going to show you with the next one how to make it, because graduating it from dark to light isn't the easiest of things to do. I'm not doing it perfectly myself, but I thought I would show you. So I'm just sharpening my pencil. So start in the middle. Now this is where it's going to be the darkest, so I've put a layer and put another layer, yeah, and then as I go out I'm doing less layers. It's probably not very easy to see, and if I hold my pencil towards the end rather than the tip, I get less of a mark. So here it's quite pale. And what you can do is just colour it all quickly and then layer it up here to bring that colour down. And of course you can just leave it plain without changing how dark the colour is. You might not think it shows up that much anyway, and it's not worth the effort. It's up to you, you know. But it's just a matter of, and this is just practice. It takes practice and practice to get this even right in the lines. I've gone out the lines, you know, and the faster you do it, the messier it'll be. But I just haven't got the patience to colour really slowly. I see people colouring like this, with a light layer like that, and then going over and over and over. It looks beautiful, but I just can't. I haven't got the patience, I'm sorry. But we're nearly there with these. As I say, you can go over things. Now, what I might do, actually, just got a little idea. But it might end up looking like manganese violet if I do this. I was thinking I might go over them with a bit of pink to make them stand out from this. I think I will. I'm going to use, though, I was going to use the light magenta, but I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to use this pink Madder Lake, and what I'm going to do is just go from the tip, just put a bit on like that, and hope that it just lightens it a little bit. It will go over those bits that I haven't coloured. I'm not going all the way up to here because I want this to look darker. It's quite quick, and it tidies it up a little bit as well, I feel, and it, yeah, pretties it up. I am thinking about whether to make some of these flowers on this page pink anyway, but I want to do a few in the violets and then see how it looks. But I think there's so many different types of flower that I'm not sure whether we've got enough different colours. So there's not many purpley colours in this set. If you want a set with lots of purples, I think Castle Art Soft Touch have the most. But unfortunately you can't buy them open stock, so unless you buy the 120 set you don't get them all. It's a shame. It seems to be the way that budget sets don't sell singular pencils. I guess it's just too expensive to make them. They'd have to put their prices up, I'm guessing. But I've heard something at Arteza Expert. Now Arteza Expert being a budget, mid-range maybe, set, their 120 set has been out of stock for a very long time. I don't have the 120, I have the 72. And I'm going to come out and have a look at the florals that we've got. Yeah, I'm going to grab the manganese violet and do all these little ones here, the ones that look like that, and I'm going to just make them dark. Just going to have a quick think while I wipe my nose. Darker at the bottom or at the top? Maybe darker at the top. Darker at the top. Anyway, so Arteza, their 120 set isn't available at the moment, and someone I spoke to had spoken to customer services who said that they are trying to find a new manufacturer, so they're hoping they'll become available soon. So I'm only assuming that their other smaller sets are just the fact they've got more stock, you know, and it isn't that, so they're trying to find a new manufacturer, which is quite interesting. Also Derwent Chroma Flow. Now we've got the new 150 set out, and they have produced some of that new set. I think their previous set was 100. You could get open stock, and now you can get 28 of the 50 new ones in a tin, but you can't get the rest, and you can't get them open stock. And I was a bit confused, so I've written to Derwent to ask them what's going on, whether they're going to be releasing all of their new ones as a separate set. I mean, with it on the Derwent website, you can make your own tin. So you can buy a tin, empty, and then tell them what pencils you want in it, and they fill the tin for you. Or of course you can buy them open stock from various places, including their website. But I know some people have, say, the 100 and just want to make up the rest, and some of the new ones aren't yet available open stock. So I've written to Derwent to ask them what's going on, but I haven't even had a reply saying we've received your email. I've had nothing back, so I haven't had to deal with. I have dealt with Derwent once, and their customer service was really good. When I had a problem with a pencil that kept breaking, they sent me a free sharpener. Because I basically said, my pencil keeps breaking, what sharpener do I need? Because obviously I don't want to break it anymore. It broke so much that it was brand new and it was half size by the time I got it sharp, which, you know, is not ideal, particularly for a Derwent light fast pencil. So they sent me a free sharpener, one of their super point sharpeners, and which is worth a lot of money, a lot more than the pencil. So that was good. It was quite a good sharpener, although I prefer my dowel. It's just a little bit easier to use, even though it's the same design, a hand crank sharpener. I don't know why. I think it's a bit less stiff somehow, but it does seem a little bit more vulnerable. I think that's not the right word. Like it might break sooner, because some of the parts are plastic, which in the Stedler one, I think they're metal. Some of the parts, there's plastic and metal in both. Yeah, so I don't know. Now I like this manganese violet colour. It's sort of purpley pink. My son really hates it. It's quite funny. Anyway, we're getting on through May now, but I'm recording and it's quite early on in May still, trying to get a little bit ahead. Anyway, but I was watching the Eurovision Song Contest semi-final last night. Now, I suspect that you Americans have no idea what Eurovision is. Those of you in the UK will know, I'm sure, and those of you in Australia will probably know as well. And basically, it's a European song contest. There are, let me think, 36 countries that are taking part this year. European countries can enter. A song has to be an original song. They have various rules. Now what should we do? I'm thinking I am going to go with the blue violet. And what have we got? We've got these and these. Let's do these and these with this. Now I'm going to do the same thing, so start dark and fade down a bit. Yes, so the countries enter a song, they perform it on the stage, and in the semi-final, the half of the countries can vote, and like you vote by phone or text. Although we can never vote by text, I don't understand why. Anyway, you vote by phone and pay to vote, I think. I don't know, I've never done it. I'm sure you would. And vote for your favourites. You can't vote for your own country. And then in the semi-final, 5 countries get knocked out. There's 2 semi-finals, as you would expect. And so 10 countries get knocked out before the final. And then in the final, everyone performs that has got through. And then there's a jury vote as well as a phone vote in the final. And there's a jury from each country. So it's quite... the way they do the scoring nowadays is very exciting. It's too difficult to explain. But each jury brings in their votes one at a time. So you get... It's just quite slow, but it builds up the excitement. The UK hasn't won for quite a long time. We came second a couple of years ago. And then we ended up... The winner hosts... That because Ukraine won... we hosted on their behalf a couple of years ago, which was in Liverpool, which was fun. This year it is in Sweden, she says tentatively. But Ireland got through last night in the semi-final, and their song is... interesting, very, very different to what they've done ever before, and they haven't qualified for the final for a long time, so they tried really hard, and so I think doing something quite different seemed to work well. I think there is an interesting thing because a few weeks before, the countries do a sort of tour, the contestants, and promotion and things like that, and how well their personality comes across in the countries where they're interviewed is quite important, as well as the song. The staging is very important. You know, if you're just standing there singing, it doesn't always come across well. There's sort of lights, dancing, videos in the background, you know, props. That sort of thing can make a big difference. Funny comedy acts can do very well. Because they stand out, and the language is often quite important. People used to just sing in their own country's language, but now they tend to mainly, not always, sing in English or French, because those are the most sort of spoken and understood languages through Europe. So then you can get more votes because people can understand what you're singing about. So but of course we always sing in English because we're big-headed and we don't learn other languages as a nation. Also, the show is very much spoken in English now, but it's usually in English and French, which is interesting. So the hosts this year just spoke in English nearly all the time, but a little bit in French as well. And so it's quite interesting. But what I find fascinating, I'm not always into singing programs and things like that, but it's just the cultural differences between the countries and the types of song that they do. You know, like Australia are in it. Yes, it's Eurovision. We don't. It's, yeah, they love it and they're allowed to enter. Their entry had a didgeridoo and some indigenous language in it, which I thought was really good. And they didn't qualify though. It was unfortunate. Their song just didn't stand out. You know, I think sometimes where you're placed in the running order is important too, because, you know, when you've got so many taking part, you can forget. So that looks okay. I'm happy with that. And we've got 4 left, and we've got 2 at the bottom and these 4 at the top. Now I'm trying to think. I don't want it too samey, but I don't want to drift away from our purples. So I think I'm going to grab this violet. Now we use this, I think, here. So we're going to use it here for these. Same technique again. Darker here, lighter to the bottom. I find this easier, but actually if your light source is coming from the top, you would want your top part to be lighter, but I think our light sources are here, so I don't really know. And in here, look, you can put quite a bit of shadow because this is behind, so just make it darker. And of course, with your shading and your shadows, you can get a dark pencil and put a lot more shadow in here and in here and in here, and it'll make it look much more three-dimensional. Look, if I do that, but it takes a lot of time, and sometimes I'm not sure if it's worth it when I'm going to try and attempt to put in this sort of magical background. And once I do that, you might not really notice what's going on in each individual flower. So you have to think about whether it's worth it. And of course, you can do this, put the background in, and then if not happy, you can add more layers after. I think a mistake that quite a few people make is that they put down their initial layer and then they turn the page. And they don't sit back and look and think, well, maybe if I just added a tiny bit of black here or whatever, it would make a big difference, you know. And but you don't have to. Do what feels right for you. Oh, sun's coming creeping across the desk. Did that yesterday, and I was recording the first couple of episodes of this. Over here. I decided to, I've just realised that this is a night scene. We've got a butterfly. I guess it could be a moth. They like night, they like lights at night, don't they? Haven't found any in my house lately, thank goodness. Keep trying to eliminate them. But every few days I find a couple, and I think, I just like, where are you hatching from, little moths? And they're usually upstairs in the bedroom. But I have been spraying the carpet with the insecticide. It sounds so horrible to have to do that, but yeah. Okay, so there's these, and then we've got these 2 at the bottom. Move up a little bit. I've got a little stripe on these, which we could you know, we don't have to ignore it. We sort of ignored a lot of the dots and stripes and things, but what should we do? I'm going to grab the manganese violet and do the stripes in that. And I'm just, whoops, going to block it in. You don't have to go out of the lines. There we go. But yes, if you, I do need to say, having been talking about Eurovision earlier, if you're easily shocked, don't watch the, I'm going to use a bit of the blue violet, I think. Don't watch the Irish entry. It's, she basically screams most of the way through. It's interesting. But yeah, Eurovision has a website and they have all the songs on there. But I don't know whether you can just watch it, you know, or whether it's only available to certain countries, if you know what I mean. I think they have a YouTube channel though, so I'm sure anyone could have a look. But yeah, it's just the sheer... sometimes they're very... I'm doing these really dark. I find them quite interesting, as I say, culture-wise. You know, sometimes they have traditional instruments, not so often anymore. They tend to be more mainstream because that tends to appeal to more people. Or they might... The fashion is always really interesting too. This year it feels like exposed midriffs seem to be very popular, both amongst men and women. And what else did I notice? Capes, quite a bit. Not much else really. Now I've done that quite plain. Oops. I'm going to just go over this top bit with another layer. And I'm not sure what else I noticed really. I'm going to use the Pink Madder Lake over this bottom. No, I'm not. That isn't what I was going to do. I'm going to use the Manganese Violet over this bottom half. But I'm going to leave that bit, so just starting a little bit lower down. It is so sunny today. It's not forecast to be sunny. And I've got to go out after lunch and it's going to be hot. I'm just sort of fading that up a little bit. Anyway, I shall just have to manage. Well, we haven't done the little dots, have we, on this one? Back to our blue violet for those. Now, what I think I'm going to do is end here. And I've got to decide, we've got beads and butterfly and background, all the bees. I think we'll do those in the next video. So we'll end this one here. There we go. Let's just come out a tad. You can see the whole page, you can see the sun. I have to shut the blind for the next one. There we go. So that is where we've got to so far. Yeah, I think that's quite good timing. It's a bit shorter than the others, but I think the final one won't be too time consuming either. I've got to decide on beads and butterfly and then we can move forward. But yeah, that's it for today. It's been quite a lot actually, and you might want to go over a few bits and, you know, tidy it up if you've done it as fast as me. I really should, but I'm not going to. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a really super day and happy colouring.